Tickety-Boo news. Well, as I say, there's so much tickety-boo news. I really have been in a state of bliss since the Kavanaugh. The thing about the Kavanaugh thing is not Kavanaugh, though I think he'll be an excellent judge. It's not that. It is the overcoming, the turning back of this tide of panic and hysteria, this media war that has been waging. It was the victory over panic and hatred and the end of due process and identity politics. It just made me feel bliss. But there's plenty of other reasons. The U.S. is now the most competitive country in the world, regaining the #1 spot for the first time since the collapse in 2008. All this talk that the recovery started with Obama is garbage, because the recovery would have started under a stuffed cat. It would have started under anybody. When you have a crash in America, our economy is so strong, it always bounds back in accordance with the crash. So normally, when the crash comes, if it's a bad crash like this one was, the recovery is big and strong and very quick. And that is the way it has always been. Milton Friedman pointed this out. It's the way it's always been. With Obama, he sat on the recovery with his stupid healthcare bill, with his complete regulation of businesses, with his changing regulations and his incredible red tape. And now Trump has taken that off and the economy is soaring. But in keeping with that, I want to mention the death of Paul Allen, who was Bill Gates' partner in founding Microsoft. Bill Gates said that personal computing would not have existed without him. There's a little bit of an obit, it's really an op-ed, an editorial in the Wall Street Journal today, in which they pointed out that the founding of Apple and of Microsoft and Apple came in the 1970s, when, first of all, anybody would have said that IBM was going to be the greatest computer company, but instead Microsoft and Apple came to dominate the desktop computer revolution. But as it says in this editorial, the late 1970s were also a time full of angst about whether America's best days were over, right? This was happening when Jimmy Carter, when Richard Nixon was, when Watergate was happening, when Jimmy Carter followed, Jimmy Carter gave that famous speech where he said, America is in a malaise, and where did it come from? And everybody, the left, was saying, oh, my goodness, America is ungovernable. And this was just before Ronald Reagan came. All I want to say about this is this, that conservatives are very good at reading the tea leaves and seeing disaster. But you do not know what's coming, and you do not know what is happening now. You do not know who is sitting in his bedroom, who is a 15-year-old somewhere sitting in his bedroom dreaming the dreams that are going to make a beautiful, beautiful future. That is why we leave people free to make those futures. That is why we don't try to write the future or have the government demand or command what the future is, but just let people dream it up in their garages, dream it up in their bedrooms, and set them free to do the things that they have to do. There's fracking here because we have property rights. The Microsoft and Apple became so big because we have capitalism. When these big companies get so big, they start to become socialists. Why? Because that kills the competition and leaves the monopoly free to them. We should not let that happen. We should always, always be supporting the little guy who dreams. And the only way to support that little guy is to keep people free, keep socialism out, and keep corporations from becoming what they ultimately become, which is a force of a power pool that wants to preserve its power. All right.